Yeah. I upgraded my picture quality. Look at that. Sharp. Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about the new Walking Dead comic, issue 172, Hilltop Reborn. Before we dive into this, look at this creepy-ass picture of Baby Herschel. Holy damn, what is that? Man, way to bring the horror back to the Walking Dead. Holy hell. All right, let's dive right into this. First off, this seems like a build-up kind of setup, character development slash... It was a slow one. It was definitely a slow one. When it comes to the real slow ones, I'm fine with it as long as it feels like it's going in a purposeful direction. It doesn't feel like it's stalling out, and it feels like it is advancing as far as character development and new characters too, not just ones that are already perfectly developed. Now diving into this, we are back with I don't even know her name. We're gonna call her Pinky for now. She is the new character with the bright pink jacket, the crazy ass hair. There is some artwork here. I don't know if they changed it up or maybe it's just this specific issue right here, but something just looks different, especially this image of Rick. Not in a bad way, in a good way. This one especially, there's just something different about that. It's extra crisp. Even this one over here, I don't know, there's just something about it. All throughout the issue, there's one with Carl. I don't know, there's just something about this issue that pops a little bit more that my eye noticed that was pleasing. I liked it. So whatever they did, maybe it's just once in a while you catch the artwork in a different way and it reminds you different aspects that you love about it. So it could be, you know, just the same as the last 20 issues. And I don't know, maybe it's the panel types, the angles. For some reason it was a little more pleasant in my opinion for me, or a little more noticeable visually. Anyway, so let's dive into this with the story stays in Alexandria, and I'm sorry, after we revisit Michonne on the road, and they do something neat coming up where when they get to the 4 wides here, these wide panels, you will be at each location, each separate location. Here's with Michonne and them by Pittsburgh headed to Ohio. You have Carl at the Hilltop, Rick at Alexandria, and then back at the Hilltop with Maggie, a different placement in the Hilltop. Alexandria, we have Pittsburgh / Ohio. They're just a traveling group. We have Alexandria, and then we have Hilltop. I really like how they do that. It makes the issues feel like it's fuller. It gives you a little peek into where each community or each segment of characters, where they're at in the story. This is something I would prefer them to continue to do up until there's those moments where it's like, okay, we need to buckle down and show this, like Michonne and them. If they reach a new community and it's you don't want to pull us out of the story, leave us there. So I love this, but if they need to pull away and give us one of those dreaded bottle episode or bottle issue types, if it's benefiting to the story, I'm fine with that. I'm actually encouraging that. So looking forward to that. Anyway, we have more dreaded setup with Aaron and Jesus. Because they hinted the cover, and it's the world of the Walking Dead, we know this is headed in a bad direction. So we're just waiting for it at any moment, right? So we get this nice image of the Hilltop, and I do want to compare this to one of the first images, I believe, back in A Larger World. I want to compare it to that because you can tell it's almost the same angle. Got a little bit of the wall, the windy road there, and you can see where the Barrington house, is that what it's called? The big house. So I'm really curious to see and compare those two images. But I'm loving the artwork as we go along. And we have William from the Kingdom. They're doing more development with him, making him a nice, loyal leader, loyal to the Hilltop and to everyone else. And he has a good head on his shoulders. So I'm liking this story, them rebuilding. It's getting a tad slow, and we have this little connection with Lydia and Carl. Now, this is cool. I would have even though it's only a page and a half. This is one of those iffy moments where it's like, we already kind of bounced and shifted a little bit, but it's dealing with our character development. It's still slow, but I'm like, all right, maybe it's 2 pages. Anyway, we bounce back to where it does start getting a little odd. Now we hit 2 or 3 pages where we deal with Yumiko, is that her name? Yumiko and Magna and their relationship. I've been begging for something from Magna. We already showed, okay, she's gay in, 2 issues ago? Keep it moving. I want something from Magna, story-wise. Put her in the story, not just there, not just present, not just having this conversation about, having a dad. Even though it gives you a glimpse into her life before the apocalypse, I just kind of, I don't know. I think it was the fact that they're just sitting on a horse while others are fighting. I wanted an active Magna. I don't know. And again, this is a picky moment. Here's a perfect example. I peeked down and you have the new character who just showed up on the spot, and Michonne, and through the new character, her interaction and everything, it feels like already Magna, a character who should be having a more active and pushed to the forefront a little bit in the story, giving her some shine. She seems like she's being pushed back now and just having this dialogue that just seems odd. And even in characters, Michonne's like, okay, congratulations. I feel like the fans are going to be like that too. Okay, you're gay, we get it. Maybe if they were doing something with all fighting the zombies and they had that conversation, something like that. I don't know, give her some action. Anyway, I'm going to shut up about that, but my whole point is, do we need this new character? We could have just focused on Magna. Magna's a good character. She's been around since the new beginning. I want more Magna. I want more, something that has meaning, you know? Moving along, we get some more of Rick and Jesus. He's making his way out to the hilltop. We get this little scene. I know there was a couple fans not really happy about this conversation between Carl and Sophia. I wasn't really bothered by it because it does highlight something that a lot of fans were asking about. How does Sophia feel about Carl, someone she's been with since a little kid, been friends with, been surviving with? They had a little moment back at the prison, but they were so young. That's what it was. It was just a little moment. We got Rick, and there's something going on with this grave here. We're seeing Rick crack a little bit, and this is either just, and I dare say it, but it's either slightly filler or this is going to lead to somewhere big, because we constantly see that he's having a hard time detaching himself away from Andrea. And, you know, think about it. I think it's deeper than the images. Put yourself in his shoes, or think about this as real characters, just to pull a little more from the scene. And like, he keeps laying on Andrea's grave, and that's just what we see. Okay, dude, it's her grave. That's all we see. You know, fresh dirt and a tombstone. But think about it from his perspective. Like, she is under there. She's just a few feet under there, and like, that is real for him. It cuts deep, so to speak. So does that face.
Recently in school.
I punched her. She's being bad, so what gave me that idea is the fact that he kind of mushes his face into the ground. This was a little bit funny. I keep showing the magazine. I probably shouldn't be doing that because copyright and stuff, but they show Rick's face, and then he kind of turns to his head, and I read it like, is anybody looking? And the next panel is just black, as if he just went straight to the ground, like, and it was more like a comedic moment for me, but I laughed about it. But if you see his face crying, mushed into the dirt, that's what I was thinking. You know, she's just right there, even though she's dead. Like, everything of her that makes her her, you know, her brain, her bones, her blood, her flesh, like, everything about her is just a few inches away from him, but she's dead. Like, she's gone forever, and she's like there, but completely out of reach, you know? So he's having another breakdown moment, but I kind of do like, I like this on the grave, and I think why I'm highlighting it more and more is because I want this to have a really deep and painful and lasting impact on Rick Grimes. So, again, I don't want it to be filler or something that just shows that, oh, he's in pain for a few issues and then it's going to disappear, you know, like the phone with Lori and that. But that's fine. I wasn't really into the phone thing all that much. There's a couple moments that seem kind of supernatural, both in the comic and in the show, that I don't really like. When it cracks with the phone, and then in the TV show when Jim digs the graves, I never liked that. It kind of felt like a Stephen King moment, like some weird shit out of the blue. Anyway, so we get one of the ultimate things, and I'll stop showing the damn comic. And it's a great, shocking image. You see the fire behind Beta. Beta has his two big-ass knives up. And then Jesus is right there about to get just impaled or something bad. Like, that's going to be vicious. I mean, obviously, they're probably going to fight because that's what the cover of that one issue is. And a lot of fans now at this point are like, damn, why would they release that cover? And I'm kind of going to partially agree with them here, but partially because I feel like we need to see it in order to pass judgment. What I mean is, the cover was released at, it's gotta be Beta, because it was the end of a trench coat, and it was Jesus, and he's all beat up, and it says the final fight on it. Now, it has to be Beta because of that, right? So a lot of fans are like, okay, Jesus is gonna die, so this ending here wasn't as shocking as it would have been if we didn't see that. So I partially agree with him, because if this is the end of Jesus, which I don't think it is, I think that's too on the nose, it's too predictable, but if this is the end of Jesus, I think they should have just left it with Jesus on the cover. Maybe left the trench coat out altogether and just have a plain shadow on the ground with Jesus kind of like beat up. You know what I mean? That's what I feel about that. But again, I'm not really confident about saying it yet because who knows? For all we know, Negan could come out of nowhere and there's not even really that big of a fight between him and Jesus. And it could twist itself into some totally different direction that we didn't see coming. However, it is looking like, based on this cliffhanger, Jesus is in some serious trouble, and if he gets out of this one, it's going to be a big, how the hell did he do that? Anyway, so that is the big beta reveal, and a lot of fans were talking about this beta a lot more since Skybound released that they have figures coming out for this New York Comic-Con convention. I believe it's even starting now. So that is pretty cool, and he is likely, and I think it's interesting and pretty neat, and it's pretty smooth how they were able to get the figure released with the issue. Like, they plotted it out just at the right time, which does make me a little nervous when they do that type of stuff, because let's say you need beta, this cliffhanger in this issue, but you don't have much story. Are you putting stuff in there to kind of pad the runtime? Like, last issue was an issue that seemed like, why did we get this issue? A lot of this issue. What is the importance here? It felt like a filler issue. A lot of fans came out, or we had discussions. I don't want to keep saying a lot of fans, but there are a lot of fans that absolutely loved it. There are a lot of fans who thought it was just filler, and now I'm seeing the connection between beta being in the cliffhanger here and then the filler issue before, because if we didn't get that issue, or if we got this issue combined with last issue, because you definitely could have done it. Last issue was mostly one character just showing that she talks a lot and she's silly. If you managed to combine the issues, you would be getting beta last month, the beta figure coming out now, and then this issue would likely be the death of beta if beta does die in that fight. You see what I mean? That's one thing that does worry me when we get these storylines that kind of feel like it's fluff, With that being said, I am really looking forward to the next issue. I am a little nervous that they're going to have another one and done with the Whispers. They did confirm in the back of this issue that there are only a few Whispers lingering around. Now, what led me to believe that there's a little more than we thought is that Kirkman said there may be a few stragglers left. So that got me thinking, okay, maybe by the time he received these letters, which would have been, a few issues ago, maybe he was still contemplating on how long the Whispers would be in the story after this point in time. So I'm thinking if the Whispers last, or beta and the surviving Whispers, I want them to raise a little bit of hell. I want one of those villains to just not show up and die, or show up and get defeated and run away, because this is a very Governor-esque style villain. They attacked, they got defeated, they had the run. When the Governor ran, he had a lot more of his army, and I'm talking on the comic, not the TV show. He had a lot more of his army still alive, so he was able to attack again. And I believe it was a few issues later, but it was still in, or maybe even like an issue or two later, but it was still in that same day in their world. Now, in this issue, we have the same thing, or this part of the story, we have the Whisperers attack, get defeated, and a lot of their guys are dead, and they have a little army coming. I don't want them to just show up and die, or I would actually prefer it if they just show up in these little pockets and raise hell. I think that's a terrifying villain. Shows up, kills Jesus. I still got this nagging feeling that Negan's going to show up, because I think that's clever conflict between look at Maggie in this issue is constantly worrying about Negan. Dante gives her the map with the N on it. She's not sleeping. She talks to William about having a lot on her mind. So I think it would be clever to show the Whispers, the remaining ones in little pockets, attack Jesus, do some damage. 4 or 5 issues from now, when we think the story's going in a completely different direction, and there's no even hints of the Whispers, out of nowhere, even have other conflict going on, and throw that random odd, because that is a level of realism that would have the fans and audience going like, oh my god, it's not predictable, it's not expected. Out of nowhere, every now and then, just say, okay, this issue, they pop up, kill a guy here, or grab a guy here, try to abduct someone here. Maybe even start leaving clues and trails, like they find the bodies. The patrolmen, and this is the stuff I really love, you have the patrolmen doing the patrols, and you find the body that was skinned, like leftovers showing they're still out there somewhere. but we don't know where. It's stuff like that that I think is, man, I don't know. It's stuff like that I'm just excited for, and I'm worried we're going to get a battle that's going to end briefly and the Whisperers will be dead soon thereafter. While editing this video, I just thought too, man, it would be fantastic if, or at least I keep saying I think, I'm not trying to speak for everyone out there, but I think it would be fantastic if there was something like a patrolman finds bodies, recent bodies that have been skinned, either people from the communities or other survivors even that were traveling through, or other fresh zombies, just anything like that that could be a little creepy hint. So they decide to do some patrols, and on patrols they find this little shallow mass grave, and near the mass grave they find like a pile of clothes and belongings, and some of the belongings are people that were killed back in issue 144, like Rosita's clothes or Ezekiel's outfit or something like that, stuff that they didn't recycle and use themselves, they discarded right there. I don't know, something like stuff like that. It still bothers me that they never found the bodies, but I still think that would be a creepy scene for them to run up on, or them to find. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this newest issue. This review did come up really late because I did a signing at my local comic book shop that actually went off really, really good. It wasn't a real busy day, however, they were the bomb up there. It's at Capitol Comics. It's off of Holly Ridge Road or Drive in Raleigh, North Carolina. An awesome place. I drive a good 10 extra minutes just to go to this place instead of the one that's closer to me because the atmosphere is just epic. I learned a lot too for my first signing for Doomsday Kingdom. We still have a few issues up for the signed version. We have the pre-orders up for the day and night variants. That I'm really excited to show off a sample. I should be getting a sample in shortly, probably next week or this week coming up. Next week, sorry. So I'm excited about showing that. It's the feeding post during the daytime, feeding post at nighttime. Anyhow, thoughts and opinions in that comment box. What did you think of this issue? I thought it was slow, a couple hiccups, but I'm still hopeful that there's going to be promise that builds off of this. I liked A New Beginning a lot, and I do think that Kirkman has definitely improved in his writing style and his setups and payoffs, and I'm really looking forward to it. I do feel like some of these hiccups, though, just might not be my cup of tea, so when they randomly show up, it might just be something that I got to deal with. And it's not really that big of a deal if you like a majority of what you read, and there's only those few spots where it's like, meh, All right, thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.